Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
We're going on a podcast, and it's going to be a good one, because we're doing a musical. It's called West Side Story.
Da-da-da-da.
I want to be in a podcast. I want to be in a podcast. I want to host a podcast with Brendan and Nathan all night long.
So, you know, the thing about leaf blowers
Yeah.
is that they are absolutely, ridiculously annoying at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Keep going.
No, I have to explain.
I need some context behind
In
this.
my spare time, sometimes I like to make coffee. Namely, I'm hired sometimes as a barista.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Among other things. So, you know, you rock up to work at 6 a.m. You start setting the shop up. You're there with a team of people. They're getting the kitchen ready. They're getting the front of house ready. And this fucking leaf blower rocks up in the courtyard and blows the leaves over all of the tables we have just cleaned. Not only that, but can you imagine the poor sod that is like sleeping in his or her or they's bed? Like, it's just insane in this area. And it's a suburban area, and it's just really annoying. I then have to go out and wipe the dirt and the leaves and the shit off these tables that this gentleman from the council has just blown his leaf all over.
So he's not even like a part of all this. It's just like a random bloke who's
He's
just
doing
like,
his job. Like, he's working his job. And
he's deliberately aiming the leaves into your business.
Well, I guess from his perspective, our tables are just in the way. But he blows the dirt onto the table and then doesn't blow the top of the table so that the leaves keep going, you know? Do you think that's purposeful? Do you think that it's personal?
I think he has a vendetta against you, Brenton.
Is it me personally, though?
Also, the fact that you're up at 6, you don't want to hear a leaf blow in the morning. I live in a suburb where there are dogs awake at that hour, and also neighbours. I have, these two little kids, these spoiled motherfuckers who've got, a playground in their backyard, and, at 7 in the morning, before, mum and dad drop them off to school, they're just screaming down this slide. It's, 30 centimetres long, and yet they still manage to scream down it every fucking morning at, 7 o'clock. And I'm I have to be awake just after that. So normally I would have an alarm, but I would much prefer an iPhone tune to these two kids literally belting their minds out in the morning.
Have you ever seen have you ever heard, I should say, you know, I don't know what they're called. There's a leaf trimmer. It's the two bits of plastic that spin around super fast, and they kind of clip the edges of the footpath.
Like a chainsaw?
No, chainsaw's too intense for this job. It's kind of just it trims the bits of grass around corners of a footpath.
Oh yeah. Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, that shit's done at 7 a.m. as well. It's what the fuck? But
so you're working as a business. I understand that, but the fact that you have people living around you,
yes,
they have to hear that every morning.
It's a suburban area.
Think of the children.
Think of the children.
Why would anyone think of the children?
Think of the poor souls who need their sleep. But it's also, I think it is personal because he stares straight into my eyes as he does it.
Oh, what a bastard.
And he says, and he mouths to me, "Fuck you."
Fuck you, Brenton. No, I get it.
Should I report that to the council? No.
I don't understand people who write passionate letters to the council.
Oh yeah, that's
a whole lot. That's
I mean, I just take that, you know. I take that every shift I work.
Unless you're living in fascist Italy, don't bother. Honestly, it's never that important.
Unless you're in fascist Italy, don't bother writing to the council.
Unless it's 1940s, you're in fascist Italy and I don't know, you're getting murdered on your street. I can't imagine the poor people.
I got my leg chopped off today. I'd better write to someone. But even then, I'd say probably don't.
Yeah, what's the government going to do for you? But people, I don't know, I feel sorry for the people who get elected and have to read through this shit. And it's always the most pedantic and most nitpicky of it's there's actually there's a crack in the footpath. It's cumbersome to my day. It's step over the crack.
There are so many branches, I think, to local council that people just don't realise exist. I mean, and I'm sure there's many I don't even know exist.
Oh yeah.
But it's even things that should be simple, such as registering your pet, like a dog, to the council. it just takes months of time because of what you're saying. I think it's because they're probably filing through all of these letters and all of this bullshit, which maybe some of it's warranted. Maybe they have their own version of the leaf blower, staring straight in my eyes, mouthing "fuck you." Maybe they have that, but maybe they don't.
Maybe they don't.
Maybe there's more things in life to be worried about.
Like
West Side
Americans
Story
versus Puerto Ricans. What a segue. What a segue.
Welcome
to another new episode
to Classic Movie Banter,
where we review movies older than 20 years and throw some classic banter about them.
Oh.
I am Nathan and
I'm Brenton.
We're here to talk about some old movies. One in particular by the name of
West Side Story.
We're doing a musical this week, guys.
It was released in 1961.
Crikey, is it like over half a century?
Yes.
Wow.
It was directed, interestingly, by two people, this film.
Yeah.
Robert Wise, who would then on to direct The Sound of Music. Robert Wise actually edited Citizen Kane, mind you, as well.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
He edited
Wow.
Citizen Kane.
What a good bloke.
Yeah, he directed The Day the Earth Stood Still as well. But so he was a co-director, and the other co-director was what's his name? Jerome Robbins, who directed the original stage show of West Side Story on Broadway. So they brought him out, and
that's interesting.
they worked together. I think Jerome Robbins wasn't, from what I understand, behind the scenes. Obviously, hadn't. Or maybe he had, I don't know. But he wasn't familiar with filming, dance sequences and whatnot. But that was his job. And so I don't think he actually finished the film. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, and so Robert Wise, I think, finished the film and did probably more work as a director. But Robert Wise, I think, requested, that they were both labelled as co-directors on this film.
Oh.
Which, good thing for Jerome Robbins, because they then went on to win Best Director at the Academy Awards.
There you go.
Yeah. Fun fact on Classic Movie Banter. I don't know why I went on that tangent, but I just thought it was interesting.
No, mate. I like some behind-the-scenes stuff,
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's this week. That's what we're doing this week for episode number 6.
Number 6.
Oh my god.
Gosh, we're flying ahead.
We are flying ahead.
Yeah, getting near double digits. That's going to be fun.
Oh god, we're half a dozen.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Soon
my
we'll be
God.
cheaper by the dozen.
Soon we'll be a baker's dozen.
Soon we'll be cheaper by the dozen too.
That's an awful film.
That's a truly awful film.
I love Cheaper by the Dozen 1 too.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
I should say as well, I love Steve Martin.
I sometimes love Steve Martin. He's done a lot of shit.
Yeah,
he's done a lot of great work.
But that's why
he's like Eddie Murphy. Like he's great when he's great, but
Yeah,
he's shit when
I'd
he's
agree with
shit.
that, but that's why I love him, because he's just you do you, Steve Martin. You do you. Have you been up to anything this week of note?
Oh God, I swear to God, these weeks we see each other feel like centuries, but we're apart. It's because
are you saying that you enjoy your time away from me so much that it feels like a century of just bliss, and then this hour and a half is going to be pulling your nails out? Is that what you're saying
it's
to me?
It's like the promise to lifetimes in the afterlife of just several lifetimes of just euphoria. It's like that, but every time I get to not see you, Brenton. No, it's it's just, work's busy, this, just watching all these films, it's blockbuster season, so I've been dragged out to the movies heaps. You know what? I've done a lot of trivia nights recently, which has been really fun.
Based around film, or based around multiple different topics?
I'm a huge fan of, the big blockbusters like your Marvels and your Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. So there's a great pub in Sydney that does nerdy Star Wars trivia.
Are you going to give him a plug, Nathan?
Yeah, I'll give the Shakespeare Hotel a plug. They're good.
Mate.
If you're in Surrey Hills, give them a go. Tell them Nathan sent you. It's really good, and I love the trivia there. So I've been going to that a fair bit recently.
Nice.
Haven't won at all.
That's all right.
But it's okay.
It's part of the experience.
It is, you try. For most of life, you don't end up winning. So, may as well bite that bullet early on and just have fun.
I can't tell you the amount of raffles I've lost.
Oh. See, I'm not a gambler.
No, neither am I.
it,
But
yeah.
I haven't, and to be honest, I haven't entered a raffle, I'd say, in a number of years. But it's more when you're growing up. It's more when you're growing up at schools and things, and they're like, "Oh, put your number in," and they do little fun things when you're.
Okay, so this is the childhood gambling addiction you used to have.
I fucking never won shit.
Yeah. I remember when we'd have like the school fairs and like we'd always have like $1 billion. Oh, I did win a raffle. So you and I went to high school together, okay? And in year 10...
Did we?
Did we?
Did we? No.
Wait a
Sorry,
minute.
I apologize. Continue. Yeah.
No. When we were in year 10, I entered like those like you win any prize. It was like there was 100 prizes. You just put a raffle and you get whatever prize you get given.
Yeah.
I put a ticket in that, and then I went to school that next week, and they said, Nath, you won. And I'm like, sweet, what did I win? And they're like, you won like a carton of beer. And I'm like, what?
How old were you at the time?
I was 15.
No.
And they're like, yeah.
Did you keep it out of interest or?
So I went to reception, like the school reception, to ask like, oh, can I take my prize? And they're like, you won the beer, right? I'm like, yeah, I won the beer. And they're like, oh, you're gonna have to get one of your parents to pick it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. And like, you know, I wasn't a drinker at that stage, and so when Dad picked it up and like we took the beer home, it wasn't even like a question. Dad's like, "Thank you for bringing home this beer for me, son." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, you're welcome." Like it wasn't even like a question if I could have any. It was just like the one prize I win was out of my hands.
That is a cruel chance of fate. That the one raffle you've won in your life, you couldn't enjoy.
I won too early. Yeah.
Well, hey, if that's your raffle that you are inevitably going to win, like if you were to win one raffle in your life, you've had yours. Mine is still to come.
Ooh.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. When you win that beer, you're going to be able to actually have it.
I'll let our audience know as well, because who knows what it could be. I don't.
Yeah.
But I don't enter into raffles, so maybe I should just force myself.
Maybe it's like an anniversary gift. I'll get you one.
Question, audience. Should I fuel my gambling addiction?
Let us know on Twitter.
Fuel the beginnings of my gambling addiction by trying to win my one raffle.
At CMB Brenton. Find him on Twitter. Tweet your gambling thoughts.
I need to know. I need to know these things. I need a second or third opinion.
Yeah.
Not a fourth.
No. You'll never get a fourth opinion. We have like all 5 listeners just tweeting at once.
So speaking of gambling, you know, when you pitch movies, they can either be a good pitch or a bad pitch.
Oh,
so
hell.
I need to know what yours is going to be. So Nathan, please, why don't you pitch me this movie?
Do I have to?
West Side Story 1961, go.
This was a fun segment, and I'm like, I hate recapping plots, but I'll do it anyway. Okay, so Brenton, we're in an elevator.
Do it.
Okay, Palpatine. Okay, so hey, Brenton, do you love musicals?
I do love musicals.
Do you love Puerto Ricans?
Of course, Nathan. I
Who
love Puerto
doesn't?
Ricans.
Do you love America?
I love America.
What? It's like when they interview people to get their citizenship, and they're like, "Do you love America?" That's
I love America.
We'll tell you what. This film, Brenton,
Yeah.
has Americans, Puerto Ricans, and a musical all wrapped into one, and it's called West Side Story. This film, Brenton, it's about 2 gangs of allegedly teenagers who roam the streets in a town, and there's a bit of shenanigans, there's a bit of gang rivalry, and it's Romeo and Juliet set in the streets. In a really all over the shop kind of interpretation of the Shakespeare play. Does that sound like something you want to see?
That pitch was all over the place. That was like, and it's not your fault, like, because it was suddenly like, it was like, oh, okay, I love all of these things, and then you were like, and then Romeo and Juliet, and I was like, what?
What? It's almost like how you feel watching the film.
Ooh, so let's
Brenton.
This is interesting. I feel like this is the jumping off point.
This is the jumping off point.
Let's go.
As always,
Classic movie banter, episode number 6. Nathan, what do you think of West Side Story?
I was going to say, do you want to lead this?
No, I don't at all.
Okay, because so as tradition, Brenton and I we watch these films and we don't talk until we start this podcast about how we feel these films. So we have no idea how we've reacted to this.
No clue.
And leading up to this, one of the reasons we're doing this episode so early, for this musical in particular, for our first musical, is that Brenton has been like, Nath, you need to see this musical. It is like neck level. Like just watch it, and like that's all the notes I've been given.
Yes.
So like,
to be clear, I haven't seen this film in its entirety either.
Yes.
I had seen after the overture, obviously at the start, I'd seen the first 5 minutes.
Oh my god!
And that was it. And now I've
Yeah.
watched the whole thing, so now I have a fully formed opinion. But go, Nathan.
It's okay. So West Side Story. It's it's all over the place. It's just a hot mess. It's a real hot mess. It's a fun, stupid, terrible, enjoyable, like incoherent, baffling mess that is just
You're looking at me. You're searching. You're searching
I'm looking
for the
support,
answer,
Brendan.
like or something to say. Like,
Brenton, give me your feelings, because like
okay, first thing I would say is that this is like the relationship between Cersei Lannister and Jaime Lannister. It's complicated.
Oh my
It
god,
is
you and your
like-
fucking complicated, Brenton. Make up your damn mind. Like,
No, I have my mind made up, but it's going to take a while to get there.
oh my god.
In the sense of like,
Sign out now, listeners. Just listen to this idiot whine on.
here we go, people. So West Side Story, I feel, is very, very well executed in some aspects.
Yes.
Is paced horribly
Oh, so bad.
and has some unfortunate plot conveniences and inconveniences that all around amount to me wondering why this exists.
It's very true. Okay, you know what? I think this film is like the Eddie Murphy of musicals. That when it does good,
Is that the second reference you've made to Eddie Murphy in this podcast?
look, I'm just like giving subtle hints that we should do an Eddie Murphy episode at some point in the future.
Yes, please.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
down for that. Yes.
Let's do the Norbert movies. Let's not do the Norbert movies.
Nathan, that was the first thing you said. We're doing the Norbert movies.
I didn't want to do this. It's not older than 20 years.
Oh, we don't have to do it next episode, but it's going to happen.
in the
Yes.
next decade or so. Look, it's an Eddie Murphy in the sense that when it's good, it's really fucking good. But when it's not, it's just it's so bad. You know what? I think the film. Okay, pros and cons. I think that's probably the easiest way of tackling a film like this. Pros. I think the dancing and some of the songs are some of the best things I've seen in musicals. Like, hands down in film musicals. I think they're some of the scenes, maybe 3 of them, are extraordinary. The plot is just all over the shop. It is, and for a play that's for a music for
Was
a
that,
film.
was that the one pro? Was that your one pro and then you've gone straight into the cons? Yes! Continue, please. Continue.
I know in a pro, it is nicely shot for 1961. It is very nicely shot for 1961. I will give it that. Okay, there's my 2 compliments. The cons. Like, for a musical, oh my god, for a film that is adapting Romeo and Juliet, it takes literally the worst thing about that play and just like times it by 10. And just, there are so many, it has the absolute bare bones of a plot. And this is like my main grievances with a lot of musicals, is that the plot is an excuse for the musical numbers. As in, they, like, the people who wrote this knew exactly what musical sequences and dance sequences they want first, and then they tried to write a plot around it. And like, fuck, Romeo and Juliet will probably work for this. And so that's what they've done. The plot is it's so not interesting. Like, the acting is just like,
Oh,
I'm going
Continue,
there.
continue.
I'm going there.
Yeah.
The acting is just like, it's very stagey. And you know what? This is probably my main criticism for the film. It's such a stage performance. I feel like this would have been excellent on Broadway, but because it leans so heavily into its stage conventions, it's just exhausting. Like, I don't know. You say some things.
okay. Yeah, I feel it's really complicated to cover this. So you're going well. Like,
Yeah,
but-
I'm really struggling. I don't know why. Like, yeah.
Because it's really complicated. I think for me, like it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to tackle this a bit different. Yeah, I'll tackle it the same. Pros and cons. So pros, it's like I'd agree the dancing is really strong, but it's really strong when there's no singing happening and there's only the dance that's happening. So the dancing, when it's expressing how the characters are feeling and they are emoting, or even that they're at a high school dance or something,
Yeah.
like there's some great, excellent choreography.
Yeah.
And again, like, this pro, unfortunately, with a lot of the other pros in this movie, it's like we take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back.
Yeah.
So that's great that there's those moments in the film, that those dances, and it's so athletic and it's so mesmerizing. It's
inspiring in a way.
Some of the way the cinematography and the synergy between the cinematography and what's happening with the dancing and the performing is so in sync that it's incredible. But then the opening sequence of this film depicts violent gang warfare through dance, and it doesn't capture it at all.
No.
So as much as it can capture some things and incredibly well, it's like then you're hampered by these choreographed fights, let's say, to music that are hammy, cheesy, and awful is the only way I can put it, that take me right out of what I should be feeling as an audience member. So that's the first thing, the dancing. The other thing I'll say is, in terms of the songs, is that I think a lot of these songs are incredibly well written, and the lyrics are also incredible. So kudos to the genius, Mr. Stephen Sondheim, and also who wrote the music for this? It was Leonard Bernstein who did the music, and Sondheim did the lyrics. Now, they're great songs, but they don't, unfortunately...
Are they, though?
No, they're great. They're great. No, they are great songs, but they don't live up to, in any way, like this movie, to the intricacies and characters of the great Shakespeare's play. Yeah. And that's the true issue, I think, with this film. So
look, to be honest with you, like, no, 3/4 of this film is shit. Let's just be blunt. Like,
I can't call it shit, Nathan. I can't. I can't say it's shit. I can say that a lot of it's executed well, but it's not interesting. I was bored for a lot of this movie. I was checking the watch constantly.
Oh, same.
Halfway through it, I was ready for it to be over. And
oh my god, when the intermission came, I'm like, oh, finally.
But I still can't say it's shit. I don't know if all the performances are crap either.
Yeah, it's the thing. Like, even though I say in my opinion, 3/4 of it is shit, the other quarter is really amazing. Like, I'm just like, what are you doing, West Side? It's just like. Like, let me single out some. Like, the first 20 minutes are absolute horseshit. Like they are like probably the worst sequence I've ever seen in cinema, and that's saying something. And then
the opening fight, kind of like
oh
establishing the gangs. Is that what you're talking about?
I was just like, nah. And I will get into this into spoilers. Actually, don't get into this now. Fuck this film. Like, one of my biggest notes. How old are these boys supposed to be?
Fair enough. Yeah, like, we're really getting into it. And what race are they meant to be? Is the other thing. Oh my god! Yes.
Are they painted? Are the actors painted?
I believe so. Yes, I believe some of them.
You can see it. You can see like the makeup like shine off them like in this film, and like the allegedly like Americans and Puerto Ricans. I think they could be on either team. Like there's they're both very mixed groups.
It's quite unfortunate that a film that's dealing with racial themes is. It's like just
cartoonishly portrayed.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate.
But they look like 40. These boys, like they look like 40-year-old men who are just like when because like the film starts with like these two gangs meeting, and then they go into like the school dance, and when they kept on talking about like the dance, I'm like, oh, there's like just like a local dance at a club like in town. Nope. It's like a high school prom, and you see these like boys who are like talking about like murdering each other, like literally shooting each other. Suddenly rock up to a high school dance, and there's like a quirky teacher who's like, "Oh gosh, hello boys. Oh gosh, hope you haven't been bullying each other." And you're like, "What are you doing?" And like,
I'm with you. I'm totally with you in terms of that. In terms of casting and the believability of the scenario.
Yeah, like Tony and the main guy of the children
of the Jets.
No, the former Jets. Wait, the Americans are the Jets, right?
Yeah. So okay. Tony's Tony. Yeah. And then the leader of the Jets is Riff.
Yeah, I'm talking about Tony. So he looks younger than like most of those other boys.
Yep.
Like genuinely, and like Maria. Like she, like her sister, I want to say
Anita,
yeah. She looks like 50. Like, and I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm just saying like these are not high school students.
No, they're not.
Like it's just like I don't get it. Like she looks like she could be the wife of the high school teacher. or the police officer or the inspector, and it just robs all this film of credibility. Now I know it's a musical, so it already has like zero credibility, but like or realism, I should say. But like, it's just tonally, it's all over the shop.
Yes,
it wants to be a romance film, then it wants to be like a film noir, then it wants to be like a gang violence film, then it wants to be also. Fuck the songs in this film. God, I hate some of the songs in this film because they're so terribly placed.
Yes.
Like, there's a really dramatic scene and then suddenly they'll just start singing, like, just the most inappropriate song. It just kills the mood of the moment.
Yes. I'd say there's a few... I'd agree because I said most of the songs are good. I can name 2 songs off the top of my head that I think are awful.
Yeah.
And I know... And I think I know... But yeah, and I agree that song placement is not good in this piece. And from what I understand, it was changed... from the original stage show, and I was like, so I was interested, and I looked up what the order was in the stage show, and they actually fixed it from what it was in the original stage show.
It was even worse.
I actually thought it was worse in the stage show, so they somehow fixed it.
Wow.
And still, it's not really coherent. Yeah.
Wow. That's another thing. Like I thought was like, so the songs were terribly placed, but like the dance scene at the school prom. I think it's maybe one of the best dance scenes I've ever seen in cinema. Genuinely.
Right.
That's my opinion. It's probably not right, but like genuinely, I was so ready to write off this film, and then that scene happened and I'm like, I'm so back on board. Like that was just like the music, the dancing, and then when the two it's Romeo and Juliet, so there's lovers in this film, and when the two lovers meet,
yes,
like you can't really spoil this film. It's Romeo and Juliet, so like, how do you think it's gonna end?
Some people haven't seen. I'll get into this, but I some people may not be familiar with this story or that play. But
we have an explicit warning on this podcast, so we should be attracting 18-year-olds or older. So hopefully they've done Romeo and Juliet.
Of course, but you'd be surprised. Some people might not know.
If you're a child listening to this, please don't. I'm sorry, but but that's the thing. Like, when they meet and when those two lovers meet I thought that was amazing, and like, and like I really, so there's some great stuff in this film, like their romance I bought into. I really invested into them as a couple. I was surprised, but and they're the only couple, by the way. Like all the other couples with air quotes that were in this film, I was not a fan of.
Yes, well, I think I'm thinking now because I see your point, because I'd say that maybe Anita and Bernardo are not as strong a couple, but I'd still say they're developed a little bit. But then you look at Riff and whoever his...
Oh yeah, like the random girls.
He calls her like one of his broads or something. Yeah, and it's
just broads. Oh yeah, they all have New York accents.
But those female those characters aren't even developed to even invest in any sense of a relationship.
No.
I think I agree that it misses the point. It really misses the point of that play.
Yes.
And there's things it changes in terms of the plot from that play that I think make no sense. Why would you change it? Film. The way that it joins, it groups characters into like single characters into this film from that original play. And also the other thing it does in comparison is that the focus is all wrong. It doesn't focus as much, I think, on Tony and Maria as it should. It focuses on the gangs, which, is interesting enough, I guess. But still, I would say it doesn't work in tandem, the relationship between the gang warfare and the starstruck lovers.
No, God, no, yeah.
So, like I said at the beginning, it's complicated. I can say that. Oh, I don't want to get into whether we would recommend it or not. Do you think there's still more we can talk about now? Yeah.
I think, yes, it's beautifully shot and
Oh, yes.
It is, genuinely, the rooftop dances,
yes.
when they're okay, let's actually talk about some of the songs, because, this is a famous musical, so, the songs I only recognized a couple, a lot of them I didn't, but the ones just, because I don't have a deep knowledge of musicals, to be honest with you, I don't know many musicals, but I did recognize, I want to be in America. That one.
Yep.
I recognized Cool Boy, Cool It Boy, like that one.
Yep.
I don't know where I've heard it before. I heard I Feel Pretty, Oh So Pretty, that one.
Yep.
And then of course Tonight. Like that's probably the most famous of the ones.
I think all of these songs bar There's one that I'd really bar because I actually had no idea what the hell that song was when it came on.
Oh, one more.
It was, oh God, the one about the police officer.
Oh, God.
I can't even remember
That's
the name
right,
of it.
yeah.
That's the worst song. But all of these songs are quite iconic.
Yeah.
So I knew Maria.
Oh, yeah.
I just met a girl named Maria.
Were you waiting for like Joy Andrews from Sound of Music to suddenly rock up and be like, "How to solve a problem like
I wouldn't
Maria?"
say I was praying that she would rock up, but I knew she wasn't coming, so it was kind of.
Oh, I wish Joy Andrews was in this. She'd make a good actually Maria, like Joy Andrews, even though she's not Puerto Rican.
Not
like,
quite. She's missing one characteristic. Yeah.
Then again, Natalie Woods, who plays this Maria,
Yes,
she's not Puerto Rican either.
She's not Puerto Rican either.
No,
yeah,
so
no.
like it could have been Joy Andrews.
I think there's a lot of whitewashing, let's say, going on in this film, and it's.
Do you know much about Natalie? Actually, no. Let's keep talking about whitewashing. Keep going.
Oh well, I don't have much else to
okay.
say other than that it's quite unfortunate and probably shouldn't.
No,
well, not probably.
Really,
should
it's
not have
obvious
happened.
whitewashing
Yeah.
as well because like some of those Puerto Ricans, air quotes, just looks like they're painted orange,
And then,
which is horrible.
And then the white Americans are painted orange.
Yeah.
So it's.
I don't understand. I don't understand their thinking back then.
Though I will say the design of this film, like the sets are pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And I would say the use of color in this film is so striking. In terms of costume design mixed with the set mixed with the lighting, like it just this film just looks good. And even in small moments and small scenes, there's some great lighting used in some moments,
like
especially
the spotlights near the end.
Yes, and especially in for me, my favorite dance sequence was actually Cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that dance scene. Yeah, in terms of a dance,
Wasn't that exciting? Like,
I agree with you that I think the school dance scene is impressive.
Probably the most elaborate, yeah.
But I don't.
But you like the subtlety.
Yeah,
of it?
I think in musicals, I like where that scene goes in the sense of like the Star Trek lovers things happens, and it finally embraces the theatricality of a musical,
takes a while.
and admits that you're watching people sing and act and dance.
Yeah.
And so it admits that, and so it brings in this theatrical element, which really works.
It does. It really does.
Yeah, but before that, I hate it. I think it's such a cop-out to have like a dance-off scene in a musical.
Ugh.
Because it's because then you're having like a dancing scene, but then people are dancing in real life, so are they having a dance-off in real life, or is it meant to be violence? Which it's meant to be actual violence at the start. So then it's confusing as a viewer. Like, I'm not saying I'm a dummy and I understand when it's meant to be violence and when it's not, but I'm just saying that it's a missed opportunity to embrace the theatricality of a musical and bring in the reality of a situation and, let's say, heighten that by using musical elements, which I think is when the film does do that, man, it works.
Oh, it works so well.
Though I will say as well that again, the 1 step forward, 3 steps back analogy. That
1 step forward, 3 steps back.
That only works when they're dancing and acting. It doesn't work when they're dancing, singing, and acting because it's not quite hitting it. Because I'd say that the acting through movement is much better than the acting through song, let's say, in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that might be because I looked it up because I had a sneaking suspicion that the main actors...
You looked it up?
That the main actors, that's not their actual singing voices.
Oh, that was a huge note I had for the film. Thank you so much. The lip syncing in this film is horrendous. Like, across the film, like, there's no good part of it. Like, I don't know what, like, their mouths are so large. It's like the director on set did not teach them how to lip sync. Because, like...
Yeah, it's like it's like that they were playing the track or whatever on the set and they're mouthing or they're singing along to it.
Yeah.
And then in the editing suite, they were like, you know what would really fuck with this film? If we change where the track was placed and they moved it like a millisecond, like in
just to
like,
fuck with the actors, like it looks as though they can't sing. Mwah. There's like a Severus Snape behind the keyboard's like, yeah, so we'll move the tape.
Yeah, it's
but like and it's like I don't understand why because like this is heralded. I don't know why it's one of the best musicals or something like that. Like it's won all those Oscars.
Movie musicals, yeah.
Of all the like why it's not thematically deep. Like it's got racial tensions. It says nothing about it. Like really, like what does it say about race in this film? What does it say? Like what's the moral? Don't fight. Well, we didn't know that before. You know what I mean? Like
yes,
it doesn't say anything unique about the Puerto Rican identity except for the "I Want to Be an American" song. That's the only time I think this film actually acts intelligent.
Yeah, and as I think in terms of choreography, I think I think the choreography of the Puerto Rican characters in terms of the way they dance brings their culture, let's say, into the forefront.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to see that in the sense
it's nice to see Latin American culture represented like this.
But then it's kind of swept under the rug a bit because the Puerto Rican gang isn't as well developed as the.
No, they're not.
Not that it needs to be, because in Romeo and Juliet, I'd argue that one of the gangs is probably more explored than the other.
Yeah.
But it's a missed opportunity because I think Bernardo could be really interesting, and he is. But I'd like to see how he reacts in that gang environment, and like what is the culture of that gang, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that, but like, one of the biggest criticisms I have for this film is that there's way too many characters in this film. Like, way too many characters. And like, every time there's a gang scene, like, I swear to God, it's like a high school musical thing where like every character gets one line of dialogue and they'll just all bounce back and forth. And it's just like, it's just so non-realistic.
Yeah.
It's like you're watching a stage show because they're like, maybe we should cut him. Let's bite him. Quickly, let's go over to the scene. You can't do that. No, who are you? You're a girl. Like, it's like there's like 15 characters in one scene and they each like contractually have to say one line. And it keeps bouncing back and forth. And it doesn't make it energetic. It just makes it like, just messy. Just really, really messy. And none of the lines are good enough to actually give any character development.
I'd go to say it's bad writing. Yeah.
Terrible writing.
I think it's bad writing.
Yeah.
And the characters that it does shine a light to, like the tomboy character in the Jets.
What's the point of her?
Like, it was just annoying.
Why was she there?
Like,
she was just, I don't understand.
Exactly. Like, why was she there? And if she was there, like, really delve into that character so we can understand a bit more. But
she's like the chick in Rocky, like the little girl. It's like, why are you here? Like, what are you adding to the story?
But nothing.
Nothing. Like, literally nothing. Like, she does one thing at the end that, like a plot function. And that's like...
I can't even remember what she did now you say that. Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, I think I know, but I would say it's not that significant, though.
No, not really, I suppose.
No.
But like, yeah. Oh, yeah, because she's supposed to act as like the owl, like the communicator between different groups in this film. And communication is what fucks these characters over, like in the original Romeo and Juliet play.
But it's not as it's not as interesting. Not. There's so much more going on in that play.
Like,
in terms
honestly, just watch Romeo and Juliet. Don't watch this.
Yeah, that's the big point that I was leading to, is that, for my opinion... There's one more thing I think I want to say before we give final...
Go. Before we end the episode, just kill it there.
Well, final thoughts on the film before we go into spoilers, because there's things that we should go into in spoilers. What was I going to say? Yes, I was going to compare this film to the next film this director directed, and that's The Sound of Music.
Shut the front door. Did he direct The Sound of Music?
Yeah, he directed The Sound of Music.
That was after this film?
Yes. So...
What?
I just wanted to say that in terms of... I think this as a movie musical...
Yeah.
And again, like, there's different types of movie musicals. There's movie musicals, which is a genre I say is something like Singing in the Rain, in that it's a story. It's a piece that's been written on the ground up for film.
Uh-huh.
It's a musical that only is seen on the film, and then was later made into a musical, into a stage show because of the success of the film. Now, this is a musical adaptation, so this was a successful stage play that was then transferred and adapted for film. Now, I'd say movie musicals work better when they're exactly that, movie musicals. They are original pieces that are written and created for film. Whereas this is the task of like having to bring something that was written for the stage to film. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work a lot of the time. And the reason I brought that point up was because The Sound of Music, I think, succeeds 100 times more than this film does as an adaptation from stage to screen. So I'd say, shall we say what we think?
Let's rate this movie.
Yeah, I will say I will rate this movie. Don't watch it; it's not worth your time. Though I would suggest you watch, if you want to watch a good musical adaptation to film, I would say watch The Sound of Music. Oh yeah, because it is one of the best, and if not, in my opinion, the best adaptation.
Oh, so much. I know. Wow, you really blew my mind when you said this director did it.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Or he obviously learnt a lot.
He did, obviously.
Or watch, or read. Oh no, watch the play Romeo and Juliet, or watch Baz Luhrmann's version that he directed.
Even Baz Luhrmann's is more fun than this.
Well, it embraces that theatricality.
It does.
Again.
Yeah, weird. It's weird that West Side Story doesn't. Like, it's weird. Like, Yeah, don't watch this film.
Yeah.
It's a no from me, honestly. Just like if it's on Netflix on Thursday, give it a pass. Watch Romeo and Juliet instead. If you want to watch a musical, watch Sound of Music. Watch
dude.
Singing in the Rain. Watch any classic movie musical that's not this. Like, nah.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, it's a real no. If
this was X Factor, we'd be hitting the buzzer.
2.5 hours, Nathan.
It's so
and
long.
It feels long. Like it feels
it's so
longer than
long.
that. I had to keep pausing it. As I was watching it.
Yeah.
And leave the room and come back. And the music's nice. The music's nice to listen to, but I'd rather be listening to that Shakespeare. You know.
Yeah. I know.
So I feel like
before we get into spoilers, we got a couple things we got to do.
Ooh.
First, let's look at this film's poster.
Oh yeah, let's look at it.
One of my favorite parts of this podcast. Now, if you're playing along at home, Google the poster for West Side Story.
This is the theatrical poster.
This is the theatrical poster. It's what we always do. Now, when I look at a poster, I want it to do its job and be visually interesting and be cool. Brenton, what do you think of this poster?
I think it's better than the movie.
I think so too. I like the simple design.
It's striking. It's
like the red, like the alleyway kind of feel of it.
Yep.
I like the dancing silhouettes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're meant to represent. Are they Tony and Maria, do you think?
Probably.
But what?
Yeah.
But that's
probably that scene where they're singing "Tonight on the Balcony."
But they're not dancing. My point is, they're not dancing during that scene, and those two characters hardly dance in the film.
That's very true, actually. Yeah.
So what the hell is it?
Except for that. Except remember in the school dance scene where they're doing that weird like shuffling their shoulders up and down and on their tippy toes, like when they first meet.
Yes.
It's just some weird choreography in this film. But
it's groovy, baby. It's groovy, baby.
Groovy, baby.
It's okay. It's striking. It does the job.
Does its job. So, like the film, there's just not much to draw.
I'm going to introduce a new segment right now.
Oh, new
for the
segment.
First time ever.
I like it.
On Classic Movie Banter.
Hit me with the new segment.
Nathan.
Yeah?
Is this movie worth the remake?
Ooh, that's a good segment.
So, Steven Spielberg has just announced that he will be remaking the musical West Side Story for his own film, releasing after he does the 5th Indiana Jones film.
That's right, yeah.
So, does it need to be remade? Does it need to be done?
I think there's a good version of this story somewhere outside Romeo and Juliet. I think if you updated it to modern America, I think the race relations theme would probably be more striking. I don't know that much about Puerto Rican versus white culture to know if Americans would resonate with that story as much as they did back in 1961. I think you could definitely do this again. I think I'd probably I think narratively you could fix. I think Spielberg could do a good job of it.
I think he could as well. I think give him the shot and he could make something remarkable. That being said, I don't think
has he done a musical before?
No, he hasn't. So, but I think the man's done a lot.
It's Steven Spielberg,
but he's done a lot of genres. Like I'd say, give him the shot. What I will say though is that I think what's lacking about this, and I don't think it's so much the significance of the story, because I think it's always going to be significant. I think the problem is that the stage show itself, like we were saying before, doesn't have that synergy. So how do you fix that?
I don't know.
As an adaptation, it doesn't.
I don't know, man. Like,
so I feel like again, like it's a crutch that you're constantly going to be having to get over. But hey,
I think cinematography. It doesn't feel outdated because of the visuals. I don't think that's what makes this film feel outdated. I think it's the whitewashing. I think it's the story.
Yeah, this film's outdated. I'm not even saying the visuals. I'm saying the narrative and musical structure. I think
if you gave it to a
show.
competent screenwriter who really knew how to fix this shit, then yes, I'd say it's worth a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was allowed to, because who knows what the right. Because then we get into the rights of who has the rights to that original stage show and how much of that has to be in the film.
It's Spielberg; he'll make it work.
Well, I hope, and obviously he's doing it, so he must be passionate about it.
Obviously, to dedicate it takes 2 years to make a film, so to dedicate like that kind of time, like you have to be passionate.
So I'd love to see it succeed. Yeah, for sure. Because, like you said, I think there's somewhere, someday, there is a version of this that really could work.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. I think we'll be ready to do some spoilers. Are you ready for spoilers?
I think we need to spoil
Alright.
this movie.
West Side spoilers. Do.
Ba-da-da.
The opening scene, I fucking hate it so much. God damn it, this film. Oh my god, this is the longest opening scene I've ever seen in it. It's the most moronic piece of cinema I've ever seen in my life. Because you just follow, you don't even know anything. Like the context of this. So you follow these like two boys just running around the street. And I say boys in the loosest of terms. Like running around
these 40-year-old men.
These 40-year-old men. Like these running around the streets. And there's no words spoken for like 20 minutes. And it's just this like background like jazz music. And they're just like, and they're clicking their fingers. And like, the boys start like pairing up and like, you know, they get into groups, and then they start seeing like the other rival gang, and they just start shoving them, and they start fighting. But it's not really fighting; it's dance fighting. Like they'll push one guy will push another guy, and he'll fall down, but they'll do like a cartwheel, and then they'll like jump up, and then he'll start clicking back at him. It's like it's like when you go to poetry slams and like they click instead of applause. It's like that, but like 12 times worse. And the fighting is, and I genuinely wrote down as a note, I genuinely thought this film was about homosexuality, because I thought that like this was like a YMCA gay club of just boys like who would start fighting but end up fucking in the middle of the streets, and it just kept on escalating and getting worse and worse. And by the time you realize it's about gang warfare, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh my god. Oh my god, Nathan. West Side Story.
Fuck this film. I hate it so much. I reiterate my no hardly because of this one opening scene. I don't care how brilliant like some scenes are.
I will agree that opening scene is juvenile and shit. Which is a shame because it's shot so well. It's shot so well. Like the opening it's shot really well, but what's happening in those shots is juvenile and silly. Can I say, I have to express my biggest, I feel if I say my biggest issue with this film, we're going to go into a gold mine of shit that we can talk about.
Let it out, Brenton.
Okay, so we're going to have to compare this to the narrative structure of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Does this film work or have any emotional impact if Maria doesn't kill herself at the end of this film?
But that's the thing, she lives.
She chooses to live on.
Like,
what the fuck?
And then you call that a twist. Like,
what's so poignant and heartbreaking and tragic about
they
the
knew each other for like 2 days
of the ending of Romeo and Juliet is that there's a horrible circumstance surrounding this.
Yeah.
But Romeo ends up dying.
Yeah.
And Juliet. Yes, Juliet. I was getting Maria and Juliet confused. Sorry, in my brain. And Juliet then sees the corpse of Romeo and proceeds to stab herself to death because one can't live without the other. They're star-crossed lovers, regardless of race, regardless of the gangs, regardless of anything in the world.
Yeah.
She chooses to live on. And I can't understand why that decision was made. Because I know that there were...
You don't really kill yourself after someone you love dies for 2 days. That's the thing. Like,
because what's the catalyst of that gang then giving up and finding peace with the other?
Because Tony dies.
But Maria doesn't. So how
That's
does that
true.
How does that gang like find it in their hearts to forgive?
Because Tony died from the Americans, and then who was the other guy?
Bernardo.
But he dies.
Yes.
Yeah. So the one dies from each gang, so that's enough for them to like settle. Also, you got to imagine, allegedly, this is like 16-year-old boys killing each other.
That's right.
Allegedly 16.
But these gangs as well. The other thing that's ridiculous about it is that Chico, the character of Chico, Paris in Romeo and Juliet, is going to hunt down and kill Tony, right?
Yeah.
So, and the gang supporting him do that. They want to hunt down and kill Tony for killing Bernardo.
Yeah.
They get what they want. Maria then tells them off like children. For some reason, even though they have not throughout the whole film, they listen to her.
Mm.
And then they help carry the corpse of Romeo out to... I don't know where they're going. I hope they're going to the cemetery. I don't know. They could be going to barbecue. I don't know what they're doing in that film. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Like, it's just... It makes no sense to me, that decision. Yeah, so I don't know what the point of that was really, and it makes no sense to me.
It makes no sense
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like, just like I think like the film's biggest flaw is that they just shot themselves in the foot when they tried to be married to the stage interpretation. I think it should have been a radical departure where they kept the songs and actually tidied up the plot. Like,
but and what's even stranger to me about this whole, I guess, just how iconic and lauded this film is in the sense that it won 11 Academy Awards. It won.
It must have been a dull year in 1961.
Well, yeah, I don't have the other films in front of me, but gosh, like, yeah, I understand why maybe it's enjoyable to watch the spectacle of what's happening, because it is quite spectacular, some of those scenes again, but yeah, unfortunately it just doesn't live up to other tellings of this tale. Yeah.
No, it really doesn't. And like, I wish it did. I really, really wish it did. But that's the thing. I just don't know. There's little things in this film I did enjoy. Did you notice, Brenton, that the guy's reading a Captain Marvel comic? One of the boys?
Yeah,
Did
and
you
then
notice
they
that?
refer to it as a he.
Oh, so no, okay, so comic book history time. So that's a DC comic that they're reading.
Oh!
That's Shazam.
Oh,
That
really?
is the original Shazam. So Shazam back in the day was called Captain Marvel.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so 2019 there's going to be a new DC film, which I'm sure everyone's excited for because it's a DC film
Shazam.
called Shazam, which stars
With-
Zachary Levi.
With The Rock as Black Adam.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you do know about this, and so it was originally it was part of the DC world, and then Marvel we have a Captain Marvel, we're called Marvel, can you not call him Captain Marvel? So fine, we'll call him Shazam. But yeah, and he was more popular than Superman back in the 40s. He was the superhero.
That's crazy.
And so and I'm like, I enjoyed that part of it because it was actually historical. I'm like,
Just to be clear to the audience, though, you enjoyed a reference. One of your highlights is a reference to a comic book character.
it's my saving grace for this film.
Oh my god, Nathan, I really feel for you having watching this movie. God.
Oh, yeah, but tell me what, there's still so much hatred for this film. I know, I feel like I'm just hating it more and more the more I'm talking about it.
The more you talk about it, the more you seem to loathe this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that song where the sharks talk about their psychological troubles. The one where they the guys at the therapist is I've got all this problem.
The song about that references the cop, what they're going to say to the cop, because I think there's an interesting idea in there in the sense that they're justifying their behavior. Their abhorrent behavior through victimizing themselves, if that makes sense.
They're terrible people.
That's an interesting idea, but God, it's so cartoony in the way it's performed that it's
No, I just have no sympathy for any of these characters. They're all of them. Every character in this film is an idiot, an absolute idiot. And even the old man who runs the bar, which by the way, why are you letting these 16-year-old boys run your bar? At the end when he confronts Tony in the basement, he's okay. Oh, I hate it when he's when he takes 20 seconds to tell him that Maria's dead or whatever it is.
Yes.
Just spit it out. And it's just I can't, Tony. You're too good. It's shut up.
But again, that character's meant to be representing the friar in the original text, and there's the whole potion aspect of Romeo and Juliet and lying and whatnot so they can escape. Whereas in this film, it's Anita just chooses in that moment to basically be a bitch.
I know, what a dick, but also explain to Maria that you because after this film ends, you don't see it, but Maria's gonna go back home and be what
That's
the
right.
fuck? Because she's gonna be oh yeah, I said you were dead.
But I presume they won't be on good relationships, and that relationship will probably, hopefully, end because that's
terminate.
a horrible decision by Anita.
That's fucked up.
And I guess you can justify it by the sense of the loss of her partner, Bernardo.
She was just pushed around by the boys. It's still terrible what she went to when she went up to the bar.
that was horrific. That was
she was just tossed around. But I still don't think the tossing around is enough to justify that you pretend that your sister is dead.
That's right.
It was
yes.
bad. It was terrible. I dislike that she went through that.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
But no, exactly.
Yes.
It did not justify her behavior for that.
God, yeah. But that scene was pretty awful though when they were pushing her around and manhandling her. God, I was just can you just stop it?
I just don't like any of them. Even Tony, he's just I like him the most, but I still don't like him.
Oh, I don't like him at all. He's he is such a... He's got no... He's not as interesting as Romeo, but he's got like no like real characteristics.
Not really.
Like
yeah, exactly.
he
He's so
goes there to
bland.
stop a fight and he stabs Bernardo.
Where did that come from,
Like,
by the way?
Yeah, that's right.
Also, that fight scene was just like all over the shop. Like that
Oh
was.
my god!
Oh,
Riff's face when he gets stabbed in
oh
the
my
abdomen
god!
is like the oop, and it's like this comical like ooh, I just got hurt, and then he's dead.
Oh,
It's like,
also, by the
I
way,
don't even know how to
he's
feel
he's not
about
bleeding.
that.
He's just got a little red dot on his shirt of like where he got stabbed. I thought they were not dead. I thought the two boys were stabbed were just like taken to hospital. I didn't actually think they died because like the way that both of them got stabbed, they could have survived that easily.
I'm not sure. I mean, like stabbings are quite, but. What I will say is, usually when someone is stabbed, if we're going to talk about realism,
Yeah.
is yes, like someone can die that quick from a stab wound,
Yeah.
but it's horrific and loud and awful.
Yeah, and like
Like-
blood squishing. I was thinking they're going to do like West Side Story,
But
like,
I guess it just didn't fit into the choreography, you know.
they're not dancing into like the blood. They're like, ooh. See, I do like the background music. Like, it's fun. It's this. I keep flipping with this film, but like,
Yeah, I like I said though, I think my favorite dance was actually "Cool It" because that song. Fun fact, Nathan, was one of the ones in the original production.
Oh,
That
yeah?
song was placed before the fight.
oh really?
Yeah, it was cool it like and cool down before the fight. But I like it after the fight because there's so much emotion
from
and masculine energy that it kind of makes sense, and they're kind of expressing. I would know. I thought it was quite cool that they were like expressing their grief through that dance, and I was like, yeah, that's really. I found that really entertaining and really, you know, an interesting moment in the film. Let's say. Hey, do you want to talk about that police officer? By the way, that
Yeah, he was so racist as well. By the way,
which I liked. I appreciated that they actually did.
I liked his racism. Right?
I liked it that they did something interesting with that character, that he wasn't so black and white, and that he was racist to one group and treated the other group like they were disgusting children that he didn't want anything to do with.
Yeah.
like so there
He's
was.
like, I'll join in the fight with you. It's like
That's right.
yeah.
It was a complex kind of relationship, and he wasn't. He claims that he was like the situation, which it probably was so overwhelming for him having to deal with this, but he was still. That was like his excuse because he still wasn't fixing the situation. Was coming from a place of bitterness, and who knows what his backstory is, you know.
Exactly.
But that I thought that was interesting, and I was glad when he came into the drugstore in that scene.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was actually an interesting moment. Every time he came on screen, I thought he became more complex as the film went on.
Yeah.
But then he didn't really get an arc. Like we didn't.
No.
There was no, you know, because that character in Shakespeare's play gives the speech that Maria does at the end.
Yeah.
And Maria gave it, so it's kind of like he's somewhere being a racist, ageist prick.
Oh
Like,
god,
yeah,
what a
like,
dick. Like,
it's
yeah.
it's such a shame because the film we talked about last week, Spellbound, it has all of these things that are set up throughout the film.
Yeah, and it's like a
everything
snowball.
has
It just
consequence.
Yeah.
Everything makes
Everything's
sense.
plot driven.
Yes, and in this, like, nothing has really any consequence.
No,
And
like that's the thing. Like that moment when like Tony just kills a guy, like he stabs a guy, and then he finds Maria, and they just burst into a song, and they just sing "Slow I Love You" song, and it's like you're ignoring you just murdered someone, and you're just like singing about how much you're in love with this chick. Like
again, I'm really sorry that I keep doing this, that I keep bringing up Romeo and Juliet, but it's just
what
it's
the film
true.
is.
So it's so Romeo and Juliet, they come back and the language and the poetry of the language expresses kind of this complexity and layers to what they're going through in that moment. So sure, they can get over it. Well, not even get over it, because they're using each other to kind of get over it together and to put aside the grief and the turmoil of what's happened and what Romeo or Tony has done. But in this, they take the chance to sing that love song, and it's never expressed, unfortunately. So as an audience member, you just don't really get that. And
no.
Then we go into cool it boy, cool it boy.
I'm just done. I'm just done with this, Brenton. Like, just even the ending is so shitty, where she's just like on. Like,
I hated the ending.
Oh, I hate it.
Hate it.
Whoa, calm down. He's about to explode. Quick.
I hated the ending. I'm Batman.
But it's so terrible. Like when she's pointing the gun at everyone, and she just falls onto her knees, and then that one boy just puts like a shroud over her as they all escort the body away. I'm like, ugh. It feels like a high school play. You know what I mean?
Yes. I kind of thought it was humorous though, because it was kind of like you didn't really know what he was going to do with that shawl. It's like he could have just like wrapped her head.
He just chokes her with it.
Shut up! I was just like,
oh, I wish. Like, I was so done by that point. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
I will say though, the highlight of the ending for me, and this is my final note on my notes here. Cool credits.
I don't think even stuck around for the credits. Oh wait, no, because it goes along the graffiti wall.
Yeah,
That's right.
That was interesting.
What was your favorite part of the film? The credits.
The credits and that racist ageist prick.
Watch West Side Story. It's terrible.
Is there anything else we really need to talk about in this spoiler section?
No, not really. Oh, do you want to bring back a recurring segment we do sometimes?
Yeah, sure. No, please do. Which
two characters should have kissed?
Oh, do you have any ideas?
I think the two leaders of the two gangs should have kissed.
Yes, I was about to say. I think Riff and Bernardo.
They're about to at one point, like, because there's that scene where they're in the bar and they pretend to be like friends, like, because the cop walks in and they're like trying to like give each other a cigarette or something like that, and I'm like, kiss. And I'm like, you could solve this right now.
You know, they're both if they're both lying there dying, and we extend their death scenes a little, and they both just lean over and they're like bleeding out of like their orifices in their mouth, and they just like lean over and start making out.
What if they're the real Romeo and Juliet of the story? What if that's the plot twist? They're the Romeo and Juliet.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah,
I'd be really sure.
Could be it. Yeah,
sure. Why not?
See, that's how you do it. That's how you remake this film, Brendan. You have them be the Romeo and Juliet.
Steven Spielberg, if you're watching this show or listening to this show, is
the correct verb.
The correct verb there. Please note that we here at Classic Movie Banter would love to see a blooming romance and possible kiss between Riff and Bernardo.
You could do. Actually, are you kidding me? For 2018 or 2019, when this comes out, like, yeah, you could do a gay interpretation of this. I thought the boys were gay at the opening.
Wait, because
scene.
you had no idea what it was about,
no,
right?
I didn't know. Yeah, exactly. I didn't.
Did you? So you had no idea that it was like a reinterpretation of Romeo and Juliet?
No, and what gave it away? I knew this like maybe 30 minutes into the film. As soon as the leader of one of the rival gangs had a sister, and the second he said my sister, I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna do Romeo and Juliet. Like, and like I didn't need to look it up. I just sat there. I'm like, oh, this is a remake of Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
And then he falls in love with them. I'm like, oh fucking hell. And then they're like, great. So probably they're both gonna die at some point, which is why this had no tension because I knew what was gonna happen.
But you thought this was a film about homosexuality.
I thought it was. I thought it was. And like, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't
Nathan, that we don't need to say anymore. That points out the failures, the epic failures of this film. Yeah.
Let's do some title talk.
Some tittle talks.
Another bloody criticism I'll give this film. Title talk. West Side Story. What a terrible title for this thing. West side of what? Manhattan?
On the west side.
On the east side.
Yeah, it's the west side. It's with the Manhattan, right?
West Side. That's such a bland
It's a
title.
West Side Story. Oh,
I would have loved it if they dropped the title in the film. Like, oh gosh, this romance sure is a West Side Story.
Yeah, like so they're like they're finishing, and not Juliet. Maria walks off and is solemn and walks off after Tony's corpse.
Yeah.
And then it zooms in on Chico with the two cops. And he goes, I know I shot him, but I think we've learnt a lot from this West Side Story. Cool it,
Brenton. I know there's some shit, but still gotta cool it.
Something's coming, something good, and it's not this movie.
It's Spellbound. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Watch Spellbound over
Yeah,
this.
watch
literally any
please.
of the previous films we've talked about over this. Watch Jurassic over this. Watch watch Animal House over this. Watch Rocky over this. Like,
Hey, I gotta point out, we've come a long way. Last week, we both agreed that, that Spellbound was great. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
And this week we've gone the polar opposite. But we've done it together.
Oh, what a journey.
Oh. That's the one arc that, had a conclusion, I guess, from this whole segment, including this film.
It's true. All right. Critics, what are they saying?
What are they saying?
All right. So, West Side on Rotten Tomatoes has 94 fucking %. Critics, what are you doing? Why are you in love with this film? Well, I guess we're about to find out. So,
I really want to know.
Okay, the audience score gave it 84%. Okay, so what I do is that I grab... So I'm shortening it a little bit this time. I'm going to grab 2 good critics, 2 positive reviews from critics, 2 negatives from critics, and then from the audiences I'll grab 2 from each as well. So, first critic who gave it a thumbs up is Kevin Carr from 7M Pictures. He wrote, "For all of its silliness for today, it is still an epic film."
This film ain't epic.
But it is
epic.
silly.
It is epic.
Epically stupid.
It's an epic fail.
We got him.
I mean, I guess again, there's some spectacle in it. Some of the dance scenes are epic, but apart from that, it's a whole to it. Let's say if the dance scenes take up 5-10 minutes of this film that are great dancers, that's a whole 2 hours and 20 minutes. Of epic failure.
Honestly, just go on YouTube and look up the school dance scene. That's all you need. That's all you need from this film.
What else are critics saying, Nathan?
TV Guide said, when it's good, it's very good. But when it's bad, it's a stinker.
Hey.
That's a positive review, by the way.
That's a quality review, I'd say.
Oh, 100%.
That's a great review. Yep.
It's definitely on point. Okay, so some of the negative reviews, finally, was from Philip French from The Observer from the UK. He wrote, "Bernstein's music, Sondheim's lyrics, and Robin's choreography are great, but as a movie, it falls short of the truly inspired cinematic musicals." Thank you, Philip. 100% agree with you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Philip French.
Observer UK, you got my thumbs up.
Hey.
Last of the critics. So Martin Scribbs from Low IQ Canadian. Where do they come up with these titles? I
don't know.
Wrote Rotten. Sorry, West Side Story, but the years have not been kind.
I mean, I would say it's not even the years that have not been kind, because...
This film doesn't suck because it's old.
Yeah, it's not because of that.
It sucks because of all the reasons we've just listed.
It sucks because it sucks.
It's true. Okay, audience members. I love the audience members because they just don't bullshit. So they're like us, Brenton. Aw. They're just like us.
They're just like us. We're the common people.
we speak for the common people.
We're the commoners, eh?
We got them rice opinions that we're just trying to share.
We're just trying to make do, We're just trying to watch a good movie. We want to watch a quality product. 94 fucking %. What the fuck's that?
I'll just start our own gang in Sydney. That's what we're going to do.
Wait. So they're called the Jets. They're called the Sharks. What are we going to call us?
The Banters. We're the Banter boys from Sydney West Side. Oh no, because we're on the south side right now of the river. So
yes,
where's on the south side? We're going to be fighting the North Shore boys, and we're going to win, and we're going to do it through dance fighting.
Dance fighting. I will take you on. I will do a pirouette.
I will beat you through a summer assault. Dance fighting.
I will split jump on your face.
I would murder to see an Australian version of this film. I would love it. I think that would completely fill all the floors if this was Australian.
Oi, Tony, get over here. Oh, hey, mate, how you going?
It was just like white Australians versus bogan Australians.
Oh.
Or no, let's rephrase that. Multicultural Australia versus bogan Australia. That's what I want the two gangs to be. Like progressive, good society Australia versus just the bogans in there. I would happily see that.
I don't know. Is it worth it? Is it... I don't know.
I say burn it all.
I don't know. But I think again, it just comes to the fact that there's issues with that musical, first of all.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Audience.
Continue.
Gred A gave it 5 stars and wrote, "It gets full marks for the soundtrack alone." No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't, Greg. Get the fuck out, you piece of shit. Get off this podcast.
What's his name, Greg?
Gred.
Gred?
No. G-E-D. Ged.
Ged?
It's Ged. Get out of here, Ged.
Hey, Ged. Get out of here. Ged. Oh, man, no. It doesn't.
Okay.
Just buy the soundtrack then if you liked it.
It's true. Just buy the soundtrack. Mima D gave it 4.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
I think she wrote, while it'll never ever be for everybody, West Side Story perfectly matches its tone with the progression of its socially relevant and powerful story. It also features the greatest visual spectacle in musicals.
Hey, if that's her opinion...
Hey, that's your opinion, man.
That's fine. That's fine because, like, I think you could justify that in some sense. Like, you can justify it. Like, there's themes in it that are important and will always stay relevant due to the nature of that story, and also adding the racial themes of it. There is spectacle in there as well, so yeah, sure. But 4.5 stars?
Nah.
Not for me, no.
I'm sure, like, Mussolini was, like, trying to justify fascism back in the day. Like, you can justify most things, like...
God.
But, tell you what, I disagree with this.
You can't... Oh, my God. You can't compare... Oh, my God. I'm not even going to get into it.
I hate this musical so much. All right. Obviously, fascism is bad. I just want to point that out. Disclaimer.
Mussolini compared to, like, this poor, like, reviewer on Rotten Tomatoes. But hey, maybe there is a connection there.
No, you know what? You know, I'm being too mean. You know, if you do love West Side Story, power to you. I'm sure it is. There are bright spots. I'll give you that.
No, there's like I said, there's positives to it. There's things that are executed well, but as a cohesive product, no, just no, never.
Spencer H gave it 3 stars and wrote, I didn't believe the romance for 1 second. Tony wasn't an interesting character. The movie felt like 3 movies, a musical, a crime drama, and a romance. The romance fell flat. The music part was pretty good, except some songs fell out of place, and the crime drama part of the movie was the best.
Hey, that's a good review.
That's a great review.
That's a good review.
Spencer's
well done.
on point. He's actually got a good profile pic as well. He's got this cool little... I'll show this over to you, Brendan. It's just him, like, looking nonchalantly off to the side. I don't know if you can see that, but...
Oh, yep.
Spencer, you're doing good things. And
is he holding wine as well?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Oh,
what a
champion.
What a good lad.
What a champion.
And then the last of the reviews, Robert P gave it 0 stars. And Robert wrote, never in my life have I seen such a messed up movie. The singing scenes are too long and I did not care for the most iconic of all Shakespeare adaptations. Enough said. Look, I did hate this film a lot in this movie review. I wouldn't say it has nothing.
No, there's positive aspects. 3.5 isn't bad, but I'd still go a bit lower.
We don't give proper ratings in this.
No.
Screw numbers. Like,
no.
Just yay or nay.
Numbers are irrelevant. Listen to the show and we'll express, most, if not all, of our opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So
things are more complicated than a number.
Man, life is complicated.
Life is complicated.
Tonight, we reviewed West Side Story. It was shit. Like Tony and Maria.
It's a classic movie, Banter. Oh, yeah, that was an interesting show. I mean...
For our first musical, I promise we're going to do good musicals after
this.
Gosh,
I'd love to have started it off with a banger musical,
Yeah.
I would have loved it. Because I love this genre.
Let's just do something great next time.
Oh, yes, please.
Well,
let's not say anything at this point about what next time is, but we need to pick
me
up, mate.
What have we done so far? Recap. What have we done? We've done a boxing film. We've done a frat boy comedy. We've done a Japanese animated film. We've done a classic 90s action sci-fi. We've done a 1940s mystery thriller, and now we've done
a
musical. So I know
what's
next.
We're going strong, man. But like,
we got a good crop. Something for everyone. So.
Man, I do want to do a good musical one day. Like, because there's plenty.
Let's
out
recommend good. Actually, no. Right now, recommend good musicals that you've seen before.
As in films?
Yep. Go.
It's Sound of Music, man.
Yep. Sound of Music. Singing in the Rain.
I like Oliver too.
Oliver's excellent.
I do like Oliver. Yeah.
The original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Are we going to talk stuff recent or?
Yeah, recent stuff. Go for it.
Oh, there's not many.
I like La La Land.
Ooh, really?
Oh, you don't?
Oh, I don't. Not really.
Okay,
no.
Fair. That's all. I
it's
say
okay.
Yeah.
The last 10 minutes of La La Land are worth admission alone. Yeah.
What are some other great? Oh, Chicago.
Chicago's good.
Really,
Chicago might even be better than the actual stage show too. So that's a great adaptation.
Definitely Chicago. Definitely would recommend that.
Yeah.
Does Great Gatsby count? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. I like Moulin Rouge. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Any of the Disney musicals?
Oh, do we consider the animations musicals? Sure.
Yes.
Well, like
of course.
that whole catalog's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
The catalog through the 90s is like fantastic.
Yeah, the Renaissance ones, like your Lion King.
Lion King, Little Mermaid,
Aladdin. All that
Aladdin.
stuff.
I love Hunchback as well, personally. Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, okay.
I really like that one.
Yep.
It has issues. That one has issues.
I like
for sure.
Hercules. I like
Hercules is great.
Hercules is a good one.
Yes.
0 to hero, just like that.
So good. I don't understand why they haven't done a stage adaptation of that, but
Yeah, that worked really well.
yeah. What else is there from that Disney era? That's good.
There's heaps. Tarzan's
Is
not
there?
really musical though.
Yeah, I like Tarzan though. Tarzan's a good time.
Yeah, Tarzan's fine. But
Beauty and the Beast. What the fuck am I
Beauty and the Beast.
talking
That
about?
musical you actually did.
Oh my god, Disney's
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast. That animation's just
It's
incredible.
amazing.
That's incredible. I like it better than the Lion. That's probably my favorite.
There you go.
Yeah, out of that Renaissance. Not the remake.
No.
The remakes.
Oh, no. Sorry,
not-
sorry, Emma Watson.
No, just no.
Yeah,
Just no.
no.
Yeah,
So there you
yeah.
go. There's a bunch of musicals you can watch over this.
Yeah, sure. Is there anything else I need to say in terms of musicals? There's a lot. There's so
I
many.
know there's a lot.
There's-
We'll write it on Twitter.
We'll review them eventually.
Yeah,
Like these
we
old
will.
ones. Yeah, yeah.
But we'll tweet some out if you just
Yeah.
tweet at us. Ask us for musicals. We'll tweet you back. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Gosh.
So that's West Side Story. So
Hey, it's been fun. It's been a fun
it's
time.
been really fun. Yeah. If you liked this app, make sure you give it the 5 stars, all the thumbs, or whatever feedback you can do on whatever you're listening to.
It really helps us
We're
out.
on iTunes, or on SoundCloud, or on YouTube, so whatever you want. I hope you can rate us on that. You want to talk to us, we've got an email, we've got Twitters, it's all in the description. So find us, write to us. Love hearing from you guys and girls and others. So write on in.
Yeah, it's a great experience doing this.
It's really
like
cool.
I love
Because it's just you and me sitting in my house just having chats. It's weird to think
Yeah,
people
exactly.
actually listen to us.
exactly.
And also
Yeah,
voluntarily listen to our conversations. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I
it's-
sit around my best friends and just be like, oh, I have to listen to them again. Like, can't imagine people listening to us. Like,
No, but it's fantastic. So yeah, this has been for me personally, like not the greatest film, but
but
it was a
the
great time-
greatest of friendships.
Exactly. And it was great to talk it out,
Yeah.
and get to the crux
Like
of
most trauma, it helps talking about it.
it. But hey, who knows what we're going to review next week. But
Yeah.
until then, thanks very much and see you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.